Alright, yeah! Thank God for fantasy football. I'm Buster Brown, and the show is called Redemption Rehab. And if you tuned in today, it's for one reason. It's because you want to win some money in fantasy football. Here we are on our website, Fantasy Football RedemptionRehab.com. And today, we're talking daily fantasy sports for football in week 1 of the NFL. We're going to show you exactly who you should be taking at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense. So buckle up, get out your popcorn, and let's head over to the chalkboard
and check out the facts.
Alright, welcome to the chalkboard. This is where we talk, shop about fantasy football and daily fantasy sports and who you should be thinking about on FanDuel for this upcoming week 1 Sunday games. There are no Thursday games in this, and there are no Monday night games. FanDuel didn't offer it when we started shooting this, so those players on Thursday and on Monday night are not involved in any of the lineups. On the left side of the screen over here, you have FanDuel. We have the quarterbacks listed. Basically, you see right here is they're like top, 8 to 10 quarterbacks. Over on the right side of the screen is our basically week 1 rankings on RT Sports, real-time fantasysports.com. If you don't know who they are, when you get a chance, check them out. They have the rankings on the right. FanDuel has the price list on the left. So let's get into their quarterbacks. As you can see here on the right side of your screen, Patrick Mahomes, who's not playing in our FanDuel because he's on Thursday night. But the highest paid quarterback is Lamar Jackson. He's going to have a big game. I could see him putting up 30-some points. He'd definitely be worth getting. But as you can see right here, that's a hefty price tag. First week of the season, you could probably get away with it because you can get some young players nobody knows about. There's some running backs that we'll mention later. So if you decide you want to put Lamar Jackson in, you're going to have to go with some sleepers. And we do have some sleeper picks at running back this week that you can get. So stick around and we'll show you who they are. I also kind of like Russell Wilson. He'll have a big game. You could expect 2 touchdowns, 250 yards, 20-point effort. But look at his price tag. Ouch. And over here, RT Sports has him as number 3. Dak Prescott's not in this because plays on Monday. Deshaun Watson plays on Thursday. Here's Tom Brady. He's down here at 7,600, as you can see right here. I gotta tell you, I like Tom Brady, but I think once they get with Leonard Fournette, I don't think Leonard Fournette's gonna get to play a lot because he hasn't been there for a couple weeks. But they get inside the 5-yard line, I think it's gonna be Leonard Fournette. I can see Leonard Fournette stealing a couple touchdowns, or one anyways, in this game, or maybe even Ronald Jones. But geez, I just don't know if they're going to pass the ball. It's a good defense in New Orleans. I like Tom Brady. If you got the money, he'd be a good pick. I think he throws for 250 yards and probably 2 touchdowns along with Russell Wilson. So, the real pick here in these guys right here is Lamar Jackson. But to spend that kind of money, wow, it's going to crush you. That capital right there, 9,400, is really going to crush the rest of your team. I tell you what, when we come back, we're going to look at the second half. These guys right here, down here to number 20. We'll check them out and let you know which one of those guys we like. Okay, here we are back looking at the second half guys. Basically the guys here from 10 through 20 and on RT Sports. Over here is some of their prices. You can see Aaron Rodgers is coming in at a good price. And as you go down this list, there's some good prices. And this is where I usually look to get a quarterback because I know I'm going to find a good matchup. And I'm not going to spend $8,000 to $9,000 on a quarterback. I mean, quarterbacks usually can score 20 points in a game where running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends can't. So I know I can get some value here, especially in week 1. So let's check this out. As you can see right here, If you come over here, Ben Roethlisberger's their number 10. Of course, he plays on Monday, and they have Cam Newton as their next best quarterback at number 11. Man, I don't know. Cam Newton hasn't played in a while, but he's 7,300 against the opponent rank at 27. So he is worth some sort of maybe try in week 1. Hasn't played in a while. I'm going to avoid him just simply because he hasn't played in a while, and I don't know, on a new team. They've only been practicing for like a month. So I'm going to avoid that. As you can see here, Josh Allen was in the top 10 over here. We looked at him earlier. Carson Wentz also was in the top 10 on FanDuel. Jimmy Garoppolo is right here. I mean, he actually has a really good matchup. 32nd ranked opponent. That's what you're looking at here. But who the hell does he have to throw the ball to? I mean, George Kittle, and everybody else seems to be hurt. They're running back, so I'm going to avoid him. Come down here to Matthew Stafford and Gardner Minshew over here. Just not sure. I think Matthew Stafford might be worth a play at 7,300, but they're trying to develop the run, but it seems like everybody's injured on there. So look, and I do like Detroit to make the playoffs this year, so I look for Matthew Stafford with the questionable defense to have a big year, big game. I like him in fantasy football, so he's worth considering. I'm not sure. I don't really want to be involved with Gardner Minshew and what's going on in Jacksonville, although we do have some running backs we like in fantasy, daily fantasy sports, because they don't have any running backs, so they're putting basically people off the street on their team. I'm not kidding. They signed a guy basically off the street today that got cut from another team. So we may go after one of those guys. And I like Aaron Rodgers against Minnesota. Minnesota lost most of their secondary. They cut everybody, and everybody they brought in got hurt. So I like the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams stack. When you take a quarterback, you definitely want to stack him with a wide receiver, tight end type thing, so you get double points. That's important in daily fantasy football, so keep that in mind. But the guy I want to emphasis on down here, I really not high on anybody here, but the guy I've been looking at, because we've had so much time, is this guy Tyrod Taylor. As you can see right here, he's only $7,000 going up against a 24th ranked opponent. They have him here as number 20 in RT Sports. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think it's supposed to be awesome weather. It's a 4 o'clock game. So I think that Cincinnati's defense had some players, good players, that they let go, especially in the secondary. And the people they brought in were some of the good cornerbacks. Like one of them was from Minnesota, and he's out for the year. So I'm not exactly sure who they got in their secondary, but I'm pretty sure Keenan Allen's going to take advantage of them. They've got a great running game with Austin Eckler. And when we come back, we're going to talk about running backs. And we mentioned Austin Eckler, and we really like him against a weak Cincinnati defense. Okay, here we are back checking out running backs on RT Sports Week 1 rankings and their cost on FanDuel to help you win some cash in Week 1 of the NFL season. I'll tell you what, everybody likes Christian McCaffrey. Who wouldn't? But look at his price tag. Look, if you take Christian McCaffrey, and I think you should, can have a big game. He's gonna score like 20-some points, maybe 30. Well, the problem is, look at the price tag. 10,000 really crushes your capital as far as spending. So good luck. I would definitely recommend him. Ezekiel Elliott's not in the lineup over here on FanDuel because he plays on Monday. Dalvin Cook, like Dalvin Cook, issues with the contract. Didn't practice a lot. Didn't want to. Playing against Green Bay, has big games against Green Bay. Oh man, I tell you, I really like him a lot. Number 24th ranked defense. Green Bay's defense not that good against the run. Gonna have a big game. I could see playing him, but he's also expensive, $8,700. Alvin Kamara next, going against the top ranked defense. As you can see right here, I don't know, $8,300 is a lot of money coming off an injury. He also did not practice a lot because of his contract. RT Sports over here has him ranked at number 8. I'm going to avoid that situation. But the two guys I have highlighted, I'm telling you right now, I like them a lot. Josh Jacobs going against the 32nd ranked opponent right here. Carolina did nothing but draft defensive players in their draft in the NFL draft back in April, but I just don't see Carolina's defense getting any better, and this guy's going to have a big game. So I'd get him in my lineup, and as you can see right here, they've got him ranked number 5, which seeing how Saquon Barkley, who plays on Monday, and Ezekiel Elliott plays on Monday, he's the number 3 running back. Get him in your lineup. Clyde Edwards-Helaire plays on Thursday. Derrick Henry, I would definitely do it. I like him a lot. Plays on Monday. Can't put him in there. So he's out of the question. Alvin Kamara, I talked about him. I like Miles Sanders, but he's coming off a lower leg injury. They're going to basically limit his reps. Don't put him in there. But how about this guy, Joe Mixon? Man, this Cincinnati team is like an enigma because they're like this puzzle you can't figure out year to year. They got a rookie quarterback, so they're going to try to run the ball against a defense that was pretty good. But they lost one of their best players at free safety. His name is Derwin James. Look, this is a playmaker. It's going to affect the defense in the passing game and in the running game in the quarterback play because he does everything well, but he's out for the year. He's only been out for a couple weeks, so I don't think San Diego's had time to adjust. So when you get a chance to put people like Joe Mixon in, I do it. I would put any Cincinnati player in if you can, like Tyler Boyd. Wouldn't surprise me if AJ Green had a big game. And a guy we really like, we'll talk about later, Autumn Tate. Man, this guy could have a big game. Might be their best receiver. So keep an eye on this game. When they lost one of their leaders on defense, it really affected their defense. I could see this being a high-scoring game. So I would put a lot of players in the Cincinnati, Los Angeles game just so you can make some money on FanDuel. So we do like Joe Mixon, and clearly we like Austin Eckler. Cincinnati's defense is not very good. Their secondary, awful. I think Tyrod Taylor's going to run the ball, throw the ball to Keenan Allen, dump the ball off to Austin Eckler. Between Hunter Henry will be in there. He might be a good play. So I think that because basically Hunter Henry, Tyrod Taylor likes to throw the ball at tight end. So these guys are going to control that game. I don't see Mike Williams playing. I think on the waiver wire on Monday there will be a player that comes out of this game. Probably Tate for Cincinnati and another player on Los Angeles Chargers because Mike Williams isn't playing. So there'll be another wide receiver or something that comes out of this game that everybody's going to go after. So I do like these guys, this combo, Joe Mixon and Austin Eckler. If Kenyon Drake was not playing against San Francisco, I would probably be all over him. Aaron Jones against Minnesota's defense. It's their secondary this week. I could see playing Aaron Jones. As you can see over here, he's pretty decent money. You can see the money here for Austin Eckler and the money for Josh Jacobs and the money for Joe Mixon. You could play Nick Chubb. As you can see, he's decent money. He's fighting with carries for Kareem Hunt. And over here they have him as the 17th ranked guy. And he's for decent money, so I might avoid that against Baltimore. Hopefully that situation at running back clears itself up in Cleveland throughout the year. So when we come back, what we're going to do is cycle down this list over here and show you some other people. But up to this point, I like Austin Eckler. I like Joe Mixon a lot because of their money, as you can see over here. And I also like a lot Josh Jacobs. I just think this guy's going to have a big game against a 32nd ranked defense of Carolina. That's going to be a big game. Clearly, I like Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey, but with the money that they're being asked to spend, if you can fit it in your lineup, do it, but I usually can't. So, when we come back, we're going to be looking at wide receivers. We love wide receivers in week 1. Why? I think they got an advantage over some defenses that aren't ready yet for some of the elite talent that's coming in. So when we come back, we're going to look at the elite wide receivers in week 1 of the NFL on FanDuel. Okay, here we are looking at wide receivers week 1 NFL season on RT Sports week 1 rankings and over here on FanDuel. As you can see, FanDuel has Michael Thomas going up against a team that has not been able to guard him. He's had big games against Tampa Bay. So he's definitely someone you want in your lineup. He is like that Christian McCaffrey type money. So is Julio Jones. He's going to have a big game against Seattle. Always does. Davante Adams over here. Big money. He has put up, 20 points a game against Minnesota. He's going to have a big game. You can say that DeAndre Hopkins over here is going to have a big game, but because it's a new offense and stuff, I might not want to spend that money. But this guy here, man, he put up 32 points in New Orleans last year with Jameis Winston throwing the ball to him. He might be guarded by Janoris Jenkins. You got to be careful here because Mike Evans is kind of banged up a little bit, and he goes up against a cornerback that they hate each other. Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore, they're not going to dinner anytime soon. Mike Evans had a mysterious hamstring injury. I think he's going to play this week. They hate each other. I'm pretty sure they do. They've had some battles where Mike Evans hasn't caught a single pass against probably one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the NFL. So I wouldn't be playing Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin against Janoris Jenkins, if he plays against him in the slot, I doubt he will, but Chris Godwin could put up 30 points this week, so we're going to get him in our lineup. And as you can see here, Kenny Golladay, 3rd-ranked opponent, and Allen Robinson's going up. If you get a wide receiver up against the Detroit defense, especially their secondary like Allen Robinson, I would do it. Or even Anthony Miller, who's a lot less money than Allen Robinson. Get these guys in your lineup. I mean, Detroit did draft a cornerback early in the NFL draft out of Ohio State. That kid's pretty good, but I don't know. He's no match for Allen Robinson, I can tell you right now. So, this, and who's going to run the ball anyways for Chicago? So I think they're going to have to throw the ball to keep up with Detroit in scoring. So Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, a couple good wide receivers. And as you can see over here, here's the ranks on RT Sports. Everybody I mentioned, Tyreek Hill's not in this because he played on Thursday. I love Davante Adams, love Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay. I think he's going to have a good game. You can count on him. Mike Evans got a banged up hamstring, but plus he's going up against Marshawn Lattimore, probably the best top 3 cornerbacks. Would not play him. Don't do it. DeAndre Hopkins against the San Francisco secondary. I just not 100% sure that they have a connection yet because he hasn't been practicing, so I'm kind of going to avoid him because of the money. Look at the money over here, $7,800. I need to see that happen because he had a connection with Deshaun Watson, but he doesn't. I got to see it to believe it right here. And of course, J.J. Schuster is playing on Monday night. When we come back, we're going to look at all these guys down here. There's a lot of players in here I like, especially Anthony Miller. These guys down here, especially at the bottom, could help you win if you can nail it with some other good receivers that I just talked about. I mean, these guys right here are the guys I like the most, but we can probably come up with some others just to show you how to compete in week 1 on FanDuel. Okay, here we are back checking out the second tier of wide receivers on RT Sports and FanDuel. As you can see here, we kind of looked at their basically top 10. Now we're looking at people like DJ Moore and these guys here. Robert Woods is playing on Monday. I really like Calvin Ridley. I tried to get him in a lot of leagues. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Cooper Kupp's playing on Monday. I'll tell you what, Terry McLaurin could have a big game against a banged up, he might be going up against one of the better cornerbacks in Philly. They made a cornerback trade with Detroit, and that kid can play. I want to say his name's Clay, but I'm not sure. Anyways, he might go up against a good cornerback. We really like Keenan Allen. It would be great if Mike Williams could play because that would open up things for Keenan Allen. Cincinnati has nobody to cover this guy, so they're going to have to put at least 2 people on Keenan Allen, which is going to open up things for Austin Eckler. That's why we like him. And also Hunter Henry, and of course Tyrod Taylor. So I think Cincinnati's going to be in a high-scoring game, so we like him. I think you can find DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They're pretty good players. I like them a lot. If you come over here, you can see some of the price of these players. $7,100 for DJ Moore. Teddy Bridgewater is an accurate quarterback, where Cam Newton was more of a running, throw on the run thing. So I think DJ Moore might have a good year based upon an accurate quarterback if Bridgewater can stay healthy. We just talked about Keenan Allen. Odell Beckham, this guy could have a big game. When Baltimore cut Thomas away, the safety, for fighting with his teammates, he had some off the field problems. Still has not been signed. I don't know. Odell Beckham's going to have a field day against the secondary that isn't. They have good cornerbacks, but unfortunately, the safeties you got to worry about. You might not be able to guard Odell Beckham with one person, so he might have a big game. Consider him. Tyler Lockett right here could have a big game against Atlanta. Their secondary is not very good. Adam Thielen, there's your price. Going up against the 8th rate. They could probably double cover him, so I'd stay away from that. Cannot put any money on Devontae Parker this week. New England's going to shut him down. Not 100% sure about Julian Edelman right here. He's going up against a defense he could probably beat, but I got to see the chemistry with Cam Newton first. He's used to an accurate quarterback with Tom Brady, and anything but accurate is Cam Newton. He's more of a diverse quarterback, running, passing. So we'll see how that works out. Plus, he clearly has a knee injury. And if you can get Calvin Ridley in the lineup, I'm not sure what's going to happen this year with him, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have a pretty decent season, and the Seattle secondary is not that good. When we come back, we're going to look at some more wide receivers we like. Later in RT Sports rankings, and later for less money on FanDuel. Okay, here we are looking at some maybe tier 3 wide receivers that can help you in FanDuel in week 1 of the NFL. And you're talking these guys after, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham, Cortland Sutton's hurt, so avoid him. He hurt his shoulder. Will Fuller plays on Thursday. I'll tell you what, man, you can see this guy right here, T.Y. Hilton, $6,400. That's a good deal. I'm going to tell you right now. They get the weird thing you have to worry about is T.Y. Hilton and Indianapolis, where they get a big lead, and it could happen quick. I think he might have a big game, but if they get a big lead, they're not playing T.Y. Hilton. Why? Because why do it? He has a propensity to be hurt, but I do like him. Marquise Brown against Cleveland. They may put their best cornerback, which is healthy, against him, so I'd avoid him. Julian Edelman has a knee injury. We talked about him. But hey, A.J. Green, $6,200. If it's A.J. Green, that secondary in San Diego, we told you, lost their safety earlier. He might be worth a look. I'd be getting him in my lineup if I had the money. Michael Gallup over here is playing on Monday. I like Tyler Boyd too, so Tyler Boyd, I would get him in my lineup. Jarvis Landry's coming off an injury over here. Devontae Parker's injured, and I don't like the Miami team, but here's a guy that might help you. Deshaun Jackson. I'll tell you right now, Deshaun Jackson's going up against a guy named Ronald Darby. They used to play together in Philadelphia back in the day. People have told me that he used to kill this guy in practice. Guy would leave the practice field upset because how Deshaun Jackson schooled him. Deshaun Jackson's going back to Washington, where Ronald Darby plays as a cornerback. I could see put Deshaun Jackson in there this week. He's in the mid 5,000s. He's a good player. And if I had to pick somebody else on this list in front of me that you can get for good money, it'd be this guy, Anthony Miller. He's about 5,400 on FanDuel. We're not going to show him to you, but it's about where he is. Get him in your lineup. I think that this kid could have a breakout year. We like him a lot. And when we come back, we're going to start talking about tight ends, throw in some defenses before we end this, help you win some money on FanDuel in week 1. Okay, here we are back looking at our week 1 lineups on FanDuel and RT Sports week 1 rankings. As you can see over here, On FanDuel, George Kittle is $8,000 going up against probably the worst defense against tight ends. I highly suggest, if George Kittle is healthy, which I think he is, I would put him. Who else do they have to throw the ball to? Everybody seems to be hurt. I would get him in your lineup. I mean, somebody else could steal it, the touchdowns from him, but maybe the running backs are the ones that probably could. But I would get George Kittle in my lineup. I really like this guy, Mark Andrews. I'm going to tell you right now, Cleveland lost their middle linebacker, Mack, who got hurt with a hyperextended knee. He's looking at missing probably from here at least 6 weeks, maybe 4. And all their safeties got hurt. Delpit, who they drafted, is hurt. They got some other guys missing. They brought guys in. They're not ready for Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson. So look for the Lamar Jackson to Mark Andrews connection. So if you want to do that on FanDuel, to stack those two guys, that'd be a good thing. I really like him. Darren Waller, I got to see him play this week because I'm not sure it'll carry over from last year. He's been cut from a lot of teams and had some issues with substance abuse. So let's just see where we are with him. I'd wait a week. But I really like Zach Ertz. Him and Dallas Goedert are vying for playing time at tight end. But that just helps this team because they could put the 12 package on there. And that helps the running game. And who they throwing the ball to at wide receiver? Probably nobody that we know. Or at least would invest in. And Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert are going to have big games. I think that you could put them in there. And Zach Ertz has had big games against Washington. Just look at what he did last year. And, of course, Hunter Henry. I think Hunter Henry is one of the people that could benefit from Cincinnati's secondary problems. Their defense isn't very good in Cincinnati. So they're going to have to come from behind a lot. So people like Joe Burrows, Joe Mixon, the wide receivers, Tyler Boyd and A.J. Green. And a guy I mentioned earlier, Autumn Tate, man, this guy could have a big year. I think he will. I'd be picking him up on my waiver wire if I was you, because he'll be a big guy everybody goes after week 1. And I think Hunter Henry for Cincinnati is going to have a big game. But those are my tight ends. And if you look over here, RT Sports agrees. George Kittle, Kelsey plays on Thursday. Mark Andrews, Zach Ertz plays against Washington. Tyler Higbee plays on Monday. Darren Waller. Be careful with that one. Of course, Evan Ingram and plays on Monday night. And my sleeper pick, I gave this guy's name out all year long. So Hayden Hurst. You could get him really cheap over here. Let's take a look and see what he is. Okay, Hayden Hurst, as you can see right here. I don't know what I would do with him. 5,200, that's a pretty good deal. Hayden Hurst could outperform this 31st ranked. I've been mentioning him all year. It's the guy you should have drafted. He's been going in the 7th, 8th round in a lot of 12-man PPR leagues. This could be a sneaky pick right here. They like him at number 8. Look at the money, 5,200. I'd be getting him in my lineup. And I'll tell you what, who else do we like here? Hunter Henry. I don't know. He's a lot more money than these guys. If I were to pick off this list, TJ Hawkinson, I think he could have a big game. Later in the year, I think you're going to see Mike Gesicki come on. Jack Doyle could, if he's healthy, could have a decent year. As far as any sleepers on this list right here that might save you some money, it's TJ Hawkinson down here. And here's the guy you got to keep an eye on. If you keep an eye on one player on offense this year, as much as Tom Brady likes tight ends, it's O.J. Howard. Let's see how much he is on FanDuel. He might not do anything week 1, then again, he may break out. If he's in your league, I just go get him on your waiver wire and stash him because I think he might be a guy that, he's used to catching the ball where you can catch it, where Jameis Winston, it could be anywhere within 4 feet of you. And that's hard to catch the ball, especially if you're a big lumbering guy like O.J. Howard. Let's check out and see where he is on FanDuel. Okay, here it is. We're here on FanDuel, and as you can see right here, O.J. Howard is not very much money, $4,700. I'm not sure I would put him in my lineup this week, but I do like him down the road, and he could have a big breakout game. So if he's on your waiver wire, you may want to just go ahead and stash him because I think this kid has got talent, but I just think that maybe the quarterback wasn't hitting him in the numbers like Tom Brady can do. So could be a breakout guy. And that would be my sleeper tight end over here. And we come back, we're going to talk defenses. And I usually like to wait or spend little money unless I see a matchup I really like. Okay, here we are in week 1 looking at daily fantasy sports in football. You know, if you look over here at defenses, the Colts are ranked number 6, and they're the cheapest defense I would go with in week 1. They're playing against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. I could see this game being low scoring, maybe 21-10 or 7. I would definitely consider taking Indianapolis. That would be the defense I would go with if I had the money, and they're the cheapest. Now, I don't like to spend a lot of money on defenses, so if I didn't have the extra money, I'd probably come down here to Washington. Look, nobody's going to take Washington as a defense, but look, think of it this way. Philadelphia's offensive line has lost 2 starters. Their main running back's out, and they have no receivers to throw the ball to because they're all hurt. That in Washington's pass rush is awesome. It could be an ugly game, could be an upset for Washington. Not going to predict it, but I'll tell you what. If I didn't have the money and had to go to somebody else late, maybe with no money to spend on FanDuel, I'd go with Washington. As you can see right here, this is where Washington is. If I had the money, I'd go with Indianapolis. But I can tell you right now, if you don't have any money and you got to go with the cheapest team, I would do probably Cleveland. Let's check out and see where they are. As you can see over here, Cleveland's down at the bottom. Why? Because they're going against Baltimore. Cleveland's lost their middle linebacker. They've lost both their safeties. Their safeties are still good because they picked up people to replace them, but they just don't have that cohesiveness to go against Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews. But it's early in the season. Cleveland does have an excellent pass rush, so I think they're going to get to Baltimore and make some noise, hopefully score you some points, but they're only $3,000. You can see right here the Las Vegas Raiders are 31st against Carolina, so they're only 32. So if you didn't have the money, I'd much prefer Washington, but if you really wanted to save some money, just throw these guys in there. Maybe you get lucky. Nothing I prefer, but this is fantasy football, and we're trying to win some money on FanDuel, and these are the things I would do. Okay, that's it for this week, week 1. Week 1's always the toughest in daily fantasy sports, and when we come back, we'll show you a couple lineups we like, and we'll go from there. Okay, if you come over here, you can see right here, these are some of the quarterbacks we like this week. Tyrod Taylor, Teddy Bridgewater, Tom Brady, and Lamar Jackson. We like these sets of running backs right here with Chris Carson, with Josh Jacobs, and Austin Eckler. These are the sets of wide receivers we really like. We really like Chris Godwin and Deshaun Jackson and DK Metcalf. But over here we like Calvin Ridley because we can't get Chris Godwin in there because Lamar Jackson's so much money. We're big fans of these tight ends right here, Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz. As far as flex players go, we're kind of stacking these guys with the people we have in at quarterback. We like these 2 defenses, Indianapolis and the Washington football team. All right, here we are back on our website. That's what we got to offer for daily fantasy football and on FanDuel in week 1. I think you should take our advice and pick up some of these players, utilize them in some of your lineups, and win some cash on FanDuel. I'm Buster Brown. The show is called Redemption Rehab. Good luck.